Hey, what's good everyone, and thank you for checking out this video, which we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at the ReaSnow S1, which is a mouse and keyboard converted for basically any console you have available. And it works very simply too, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I want to go ahead and say a big thank you to ReaSnow for sending me a review copy to go ahead and check it out and see how the platform works. Now, before we get into the fun part of the review, I feel like it's a good idea that we first talk about setting up this device, which it's not exactly difficult, but it's also not as easy as it could have been. Now, first, let's go ahead and look at the physical aspect of the ReaSnow S1. And it's really quite simple to set up physically. You have two ports on one side for your mouse and keyboard. And then if you go ahead and rotate it, you have another port for your controller of your choosing, so you can plug in your PS4, Xbox One. And then you have on the next side, this is where you choose to power or plug into whatever console or device you want to. You can actually plug this into PC also. There's also a small button that allows you to reset and also sync up devices too. Now, if we take the time to look at software, the ReaSnow actually really shines here. The software they have, it does have some quality of life issues. Like, I would appreciate it if even if my device isn't connected, I can go ahead and play with my settings and everything else. But going past that, the ReaSnow is really in depth with the customization of its software. You can really hotkey and macro things how you want, which we'll go ahead and talk about a bit more later on, because you really have to do this and make sure it's as comfortable as you want to. So the fact the software does allow you to customize it as much and as in-depth as it does is a big win for it in my opinion. Now, something they definitely have to work on is making the onboarding a bit more intuitive. It's not the fact that the device doesn't have any paper instructions, but rather it's a little bit hitting on how exactly you're supposed to go about setting this device up. There's no included CD, there's really no included instructions, so you have to really know where to look online to actually set this up, which I will give you a link down in the description on where you can find instructions and also software updates, so make sure you go ahead and check that out if you do pick up this device. So now the question is, you have your products plugged up, you have your device updated, you have your app and also your profile set up. How well does this device work? Now let's talk about it. How well does the ReaSnow S1 emulate mouse and keyboard? Well, first off, let me go ahead and preface everything by saying this will not turn you into Shroud or even make you better. It depends on how proficient you are with mouse and keyboard. Now, the device does an amazing, I mean absolutely amazing job emulating mouse and keyboard. Better than I expected. I honestly thought that it would feel a bit off, a bit weird, but once you fine tune everything, once again, the software with this, the ReaSnow S1 is extremely good, so you can go ahead and fine tune your mouse keyboard. So you want to go ahead and make sure you have your DPI and also your response time set up with your mouse. And once you do that, you also will probably want to turn the sensitivity up on your game all the way. The device will also tell you what the settings are in game before you actually change anything in the app. So that is very helpful. That helps out a whole lot. But going beyond that, it emulates mouse and keyboard so well and really allows you to fine-tune your mouse sensitivity to perfection. Funny enough, I actually had my Apex settings on my PS4 down a lot better than my mouse keyboard settings on PC. So it works very well, it's very easy to use, and once again, the emulation of mouse is absolutely flawless. So let me take a moment to take a step back and talk about what I was saying before. So who is this device for? Now, if you are a mouse and keyboard user, if you are a PC player, this is absolutely amazing for mouse and keyboard users, because you have to still learn mouse and keyboard if you want to actually use this device to its full potential. If you are a console player, what it's gonna do is it's gonna actually make you worse. Okay, and let me explain. What I mean is it will temporarily make you worse. You will play worse because you will have to get used to mouse and keyboard. That is, if you even switch to mouse keyboard or switch to PC gaming, you would still have to get used to it, and it takes time. It's not going to be quickly. But if you do take your time to actually learn how to use this device and how to use mouse and keyboard, it will give you a definite advantage in a game that doesn't have native mouse keyboard support, like Apex Legends. Another thing that will make this device perfect is if you are a player who's adept at controller and mouse keyboard. Something that nobody talks about is the fact that if you are somebody who uses both, like for me, example, I can play Apex or basically any shooter on mouse, keyboard, or controller, and that's because I've played plenty of shooters on both. Now, the thing is, you have to kind of learn how to translate the keys and buttons. So, for example, you know square generally is reload on most shooters, right? You know R is generally reload on most shooters on mouse keyboard. Same thing with jump. You know, jump is usually X or spacebar on mouse keyboard, and you can go ahead and customize it however you want to. But at the same time, if you have kind of the brain for it already, it makes transition like super easy, and you kind of already know how you want your keys set up. If you have never used mouse or keyboard, you may be lost a little bit confused on how exactly you should be keybinding things. So once again, if you are just a console player, don't expect this thing to make you better or to be some type of like, life hack. It is something where you have to learn it and have to like really take your time to get to know it. If you've been watching the video, something else I definitely want to explain to, and from my experience, if you don't know, this is my first game, and spoiler alert, I do win. But here's the thing. It is actually a little bit difficult to get used to it because I am somebody who's only played Apex Legends on PC. So PS4 Apex Legends is so very different, and one thing I wanted to go ahead and touch on was the fact that aiming and shooting, yes, it works fine, it works great, but you have to really get your macros and hotkeys down. They do give you a basic profile that allows you to function, but at the same time, I had to get used to PS4 Apex, which meant I had to go ahead and get used to the inventory system, and that is something that will take you time, and you have to just really adjust and get used to. But once you get past that, I feel like this device is going to be absolutely essential to your gaming and just turn you into a complete slayer. And those are most of my thoughts when it comes to the ReaSnow S1 Crossfire. I guess another big question is, how relevant will it be with the next consoles right around the corner coming out potentially in 2020? As far as we know, and the response was, it depends on the next gen console. It should be as simple as a software update, but who knows whether they'll go ahead and change things and how things work. So we just really have to wait and see when it comes to that. But if you're looking for something here and now, this device is definitely worth picking up. I'm gonna go ahead and post some links down in the description. I'm gonna post a link to what you need to set the device up. So the forums will contain everything you need with updates and also just a general forum to ask questions in. And beyond that too, we're gonna go ahead and post a link to the Amazon posting, so if you want to, you can go ahead and purchase it. It's only $99 or probably about $120. It depends on if there's a sale and also your regional cost too. That's in US dollars, by the way. If you have any questions, make sure you go ahead and leave it down in the comments. I'll be watching and I'll be answering any questions that come my way when it comes to the ReaSnow S1. Make sure you go ahead and check the description. I'll be posting relevant links down below. Make sure you go ahead and leave a like, man. Please go ahead and support the channel. And beyond that too, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you go ahead and follow one of my streams. Alright, I also stream on here, of course, but there's also Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. I have different platforms. If anything else, I would say go ahead and follow on Twitter, man. That'll let you know anything that's going on with your boy Frenzy, okay? Much love, y'all. Peace out, and I'll see you hopefully watching the next video.